Now, I would want to invite Smiti Deorah. Smiti is the co-founder and COO of Advantage Club, a global employee engagement platform with features like rewards, recognition, community building, and flex Ben on a unified platform. She's an alumna of University of California with a master's degree in computer science. Smiti has a strong experience in B2B networking and relationships. She envisions Advantage Club disrupting traditional employee engagement and experience industry, and under her leadership, Advantage Club has transformed the employee engagement in more than 1,000 corporates in over 100 countries. This year, she's been featured as Women Leader of the Year by BW Business World, and I take immense pleasure in inviting Smiti over to the podium. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the PPT mover. Thank you so much, NHRD, for giving me this opportunity to speak today, and thank you all of you to actually come down and spend your valuable day with us. We have a really exciting day set ahead for everybody with amazing sessions by amazing people. Anyway, while they're loading it, let me start off preemptively, because that's what the HR team does, right? We typically preempt all the problems and we solve it ahead of time. Okay, so I'm going to today speak about evolution and overall future of wellness in terms of how can we win well-being in the right manner by digitizing it, understanding the hybrid workforce today, and what are the challenges and how do we overcome them. If we look at the evolution of wellness in general, there is a huge, and when the PPT pulls up, I'll show you that overall Venn diagram, where we have an evolution from health towards holistic well-being. Typically, in any evolution of wellness, which we've seen over time, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, we initially, pre-COVID, used to focus primarily on the health of employees. From health, we have moved towards more employee well-being. From there, we've moved more towards healthy work, and future of work or future of well-being is going to be more holistic in nature, where you are encompassing all end-to-end solutions regarding well-being. So let's first talk about health. Health is where you primarily focus on simple health and safety of employees. We all did that during COVID. We worked on vaccinations. We worked on different formats of ensuring that employees are safe, either they're working from home or even if they're working from work. We are kind of creating setups in which they are safe and healthy in general. When you move from health towards well-being, then in an employee well-being solution, you start focusing more on employee experience. Right from the day an employee joins the company to the day an employee leaves the company, there are different moments in an employee's life cycle. And these are the small moments which matter when it comes to making impacts on their experience as an employee. So here is where holistic well-being comes into place, where you are also focusing on the entire experience on how employee has felt right from the day they join till the day they exit. And even after they exit, they remember you that my organization took care of me. They talk about it, and we've all heard those stories, right? I am X ABC company, I am X XYZ company. Why do people do that even when they leave their organizations? They do it because they have such a beautiful memory associated with their entire life cycle in that company that they continue talking about it, and that is what forms employee well-being in general. From employee well-being, you move to the next step, which is more around healthy work. In a healthy work setup, you focus on creating a happier workplace. Gone are the days when we used to have designations like Chief People Officer, right? Now we're seeing new designations come in place, like Chief Happiness Officer. What is the difference between a CPO and a CHO? When you're saying Chief People Officer, you are kind of putting the focus on managing people. But the moment you switch that around to say a Chief Happiness Officer, you are making a bold statement as an organization that I care about the happiness of my employees. And that is where healthy work practices come into play, where you focus on creating a happier workplace, you build a culture of constant appreciation, you recognize employees, you give them the right set of credit where credit is due. Like we saw that mime thing which they were doing initially. There was this setup in which everyone's working in the workplace, and the manager is kind of, kind of encouraging one of the mimes, and he's discouraging the other mime. And the expression of the encouraged, the appreciated mime is just going up and up and up, and he gets rewarded eventually, and the person who's kind of being bashed upon by his manager is getting, disappointed, and kind of is reducing in terms of, employee morale as well. Beyond healthy work, we move towards holistic well-being. In a holistic well-being setup, you create a strategic view encompassing workers, workplace, employer, and the work itself, in which they all interconnect with each other in a beautiful manner so that it covers the entire spectrum of well-being, and you also add leadership support on top of it. Like my friend just said that, leaders need to walk their talk. That is where, leadership support also plays a very important role, where you're able to create structures in which leaders are themselves following the well-being models. And then once they see the benefits of it themselves, they will be pushing people further to actually also create a better, healthy workplace culture. So this is what I was saying, that you move from health to employee well-being towards healthy work, towards a holistic well-being setup in which you're not just focusing on the health and safety of your employees, but you're deploying a setup in which you have an entire holistic well-being setup encompassing everything related to the employee life cycle. Next slide, please. So, anyway, I'll carry on. Health is a state of, so what is the difference between health and well-being in general? Health overall is a state of your body and mind, whereas wellness is a complete state of being. And that is what today's conference is all about, identifying the complete state of being for any employee. The need today of the hour is to build an overall well-being culture. If you think about, statistics, I have this, report done by Edelman Trust Report and Future Workplace Report, where they say that 68% of HR leaders rated employee well-being and mental well-being as a top priority in their organizations. And 78% employees feel that their organizations would be more trustworthy, and they'd feel that they're working for a trustworthy company and see a workplace as a safe space if the employer actually focuses on wellness. And 69% employees believe that their co-workers are a big set of community. And I'm going to talk about community a little bit today as well, where, when you have an organization of, say, 1,000 people, it's a very powerful thing. You have 1,000 people working towards a common goal, which is the growth of a specific company. And when you have 1,000 people thinking in the same manner, if you are able to identify more community-focused areas between them, connect them further in terms of their likes, in terms of their dislikes, in terms of the social aspect where they come from, it builds a better sense of well-being, because when you wake up in the morning, you're not just going to work. You are actually going to interact with a bunch of friends who become a little more than colleagues. And when the day comes, when you think about switching your job, you're not just leaving your job, you're leaving an entire community, you're leaving friends. And it is harder to leave friends than it is to just switch roles within organizations. Benefits are definitely manifold. According to a report by APA, 76% employees who reported their managers to have more empathy towards them, felt more engaged, they felt more motivated at work. And 81% of candidates, now we're talking about also hiring, becoming an impact when you're looking at well-being solutions, is that 81% of candidates said that they need their employers to have well-being solutions for them to actually take that job as a preferred job as compared to a company who's not offering well-being solutions to them. So how do you win well-being futuristically? And Lionel mentioned it earlier, where there are 4 aspects to the whole well-being piece. You have physical, you have social, you have financial, and you have emotional. Physical well-being is where you can actually focus on health and safety solutions at work, at home. We are living in a hybrid world now, where some people are working from home, some people are working from office, some people spend 3 days at work, 3 days at home, and so on and so forth. So ergonomics, ensuring that people have the right set of solutions. If they're working from home, do they even have laptops? Do they even have desktops or a table or a chair to work from? If they're working from office, if a new wave comes in terms of COVID, does the organization have the right set of policies to actually make them feel safe while they're working there? Creating on-site and near-site services also has become really important today because, like it was mentioned in the earlier talks today, people are frustrated sitting at home, and once in a while they do want to get out of the house, they do want to come to office. And if you can provide those solutions where people are having near-site and on-site services where they can go, they can visit, they can once in a while see some faces and not just work behind a laptop, it creates a better sense of well-being for them, and it's completely optional. If you want to come, great. Also, digitization is also another need of the hour where we want to create structures where we want to focus on driving wellness initiatives. Gone are the days when, as a company, I would give everybody a gym membership and I would say, hey, you know, here's Gold's Gym, everybody go and use it. One size does not fit all anymore. Today's employees want flexibility. They want setups in which they can pick and choose the benefit of their choice. Instead of giving them a standardized gym membership, if I gave them like a wellness solution that, say, this is an open set of money or in whatever digital wallet you can give them, that you pick and choose whether you want a gym or a yoga or a meditation or whether you want to go for Pilates or whatever, it just becomes really, really simplified for them and they can pick and choose the benefit of their choice. And like earlier, we were discussing about the utilization of benefits being minuscule, that utilization starts increasing over time. So flexible care options will eventually build healthier employees because they will start using those benefits. So they will not just be benefits given for the sake of giving benefits, but people will actually adopt a healthier lifestyle, which will eventually drive higher productivity, less absentee rates, and build a better well-being culture within companies. In terms of financial well-being, again, financial stress is one of the biggest causes of people being stressed out at workplaces, because if you're having money problems, then, you know, everything else just does not matter anymore. You start everywhere, you have to kind of check your pockets and you're not able to fulfill your basic necessities. You stop thinking about work, growth, career, all of that just takes a backseat. So as organizations, it is our responsibility to support different sorts of financial models for employees, whether it is supporting borrowing, whether it is things like, salary advances, and, we as Advantage Club also provide some solutions where you can do things like early wage accesses, earned wage accesses, or even, deploy payroll solutions to give solutions to your employees to get money if they need the money. Similarly, we should also encourage today's millennia to save. I mean, people today work paycheck to paycheck. If you think about 2 generations up, the grandfather generation, they used to work for survival. The father generation, they used to work for security. Today's generation works to party. And literally, they don't have any savings. They have no money at all, which is spent. I have people in my company who spend 80% of their monthly salary on the latest iPhone Pro Max. And it is ridiculous. I mean, as a generation above, you would have never done that. So typically also encourage saving programs for employees and educate them, make them aware around the fact that, this will matter to you in the future. And of course, another aspect of financial well-being is giving fair rewards for efforts. Typically, I've seen companies like in the industry creating an additional 1 to 5% budget of an employee's annual salary to actually drive better recognition programs where every time you do a good job, you get like a small reward. It doesn't make much of a difference when you're looking at the overall CTC of the person, but in terms of retention, an employee feels that this is an additional financial benefit which is coming to me because I did a good job. Social well-being typically can be driven better by creating digital solutions where people can connect in and outside work. Like I was speaking about the power of a community. Imagine that if I've never met a particular leader in my company and I'm like a junior level employee, but I realize that my leader also plays table tennis and I also play table tennis and we both love the sport, and there is a group where I can actually interact with the leader on that particular common ground. It makes me feel another level of connect towards the leadership, which is very, very hard to do in a larger organization setup. Also, in terms of social well-being, peer feedback plays a very, very major role. Peer feedback is a little different than manager feedback. Manager feedback is scary. When your manager comes and tells you, hey, this is something you can fix, you always think, oh, am I going to get fired? Is this going to affect my appraisals? But when your peer comes and tells you the same thing, you look at it differently. You look at it objectively. You look at it more positively. So peer feedback also becomes a very good tool to actually drive better social well-being for employees. Peer appreciation drives better social well-being as well. If I have a culture of positivity in my company where people are thanking me and constantly saying nice things to me, it drives a better excitement in my head to get up and come to work tomorrow. And lastly, of course, celebrations of every moment which matters in the organization also drives to better social well-being, whether it is somebody's birthday or anniversary, or whether you're having Founders Day, or whether you're having anything around your company celebrations, events. I was doing this event with Singapore day before yesterday, and I met this HR head of a large organization, and they said that this is the first year, and it's an Indian company which has a branch in Singapore, and they have like around 500 employees in Singapore. And so this is the first year when we're doing something for Indian employees on Diwali in Singapore. We do it every year in other countries, but we've never done it in Singapore. And all I did, and she recently moved to this role, so she said, all I did is I just created a lunch. And people were overwhelmed. She's like, my inbox is full with emails saying a thank you by all of the Indians in the community, because they're an Indian company, they employ more Indians. They're like, we've been working in this company since 25 years the company has existed in Singapore. Not 1 year have they actually celebrated any Indian festival. So, creating those event celebrations also, a simple lunch makes a huge impact, even if your organization has free lunch in the cafeteria. Lastly, emotional well-being, you need to focus on mental health of employees, where you have to, first of all, remove the taboo around not being mentally well. If it is okay for your body to be sick, it is also okay for your mind to be sick sometimes. And there are situations in which you feel burnout. There are situations in which you are having personal issues. You need to take a break. And as organizations, we need to be supportive of that. Here also, peer manager feedback and dialogue plays a very important role, where you can drive better comfort among people sharing their problems with each other by creating those peer manager dialogues and feedbacks as well. And of course, creating support groups, creating anonymity in terms of getting help, getting consultation, and creating general awareness around the fact that it is okay to be not okay in the organization becomes really, really important. To influence wellness and culture, we need to promote it, we need to reward it, and we need to recognize it by design. We need to run it as leaders ourselves. We need to preempt understandings of issues of what our organization might face. We need to take feedbacks from employees and understand what exactly are they facing. Is weight a problem in the company? Is smoking a problem in the company? Is people being overstressed out a problem in the company? Taking constant feedback gives us those metrics where we understand where we have to actually deploy our efforts. And then when you deploy a flexi wellness or whatever, you give options to employees to pick and choose from whatever they want. Lastly, to get future ready by design, we need to adapt. There are 4 A's, which you can follow. 1, you need to adapt, that is personalize your employee well-being by design. 2nd, you need to acknowledge, where you need to constantly recognize and create a culture of appreciation, which brings me to the 3rd one, which is you need to appreciate and give credit where credit is due. And lastly, you need to award employees for the good job done in terms of creating a better setup in terms of thought processes. Technology, of course, helps, but I also feel that technology is an enabler. It's not a reinforcer. Eventually, it is the leadership whose decisions, whose overall programs or whatever initiatives you drive, you can leverage technology as a reinforcer, but you have to enable it yourself. With that note, I will end my talk today. Thank you so much for listening to me, and we have a booth out here, so if you need to discuss your wellness strategies, I'm here the whole day. Pro bono, no strings attached, you don't have to sign up with us. I just love to understand, what are you doing in terms of employee well-being and how we can exchange ideas and learn more from each other. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Smiti. That was very insightful, and thanks for the inaugural address.